everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. It is currently Monday, May the 6th, and this video is going to be, I think, different from the videos in April and March and February and stuff, because I don't think I'm going to be doing like daily updates, because I'm not going to be changing projects necessarily every day because my plans for May are different from before. Previously, I had been spinning the wheel, but for May, I just made a list of my projects with the amount of stitches that I want to do on each project. I'll insert the list here. And so the way it's going to work for May is that I will be only switching projects after I have met my goal. Some of these projects are probably going to take multiple days. Like my first project is Tonight We Ride, so I don't know how long that will take, but what I will do is I will show you first what I worked on this weekend, because my weekends in May, I am going to be working on my Whip Go pieces, except for the last weekend. That will be if there is a leftover Whip Go piece that did not get its goal met, which Whip Go pieces need 1,000 stitches, then I will work on it for weekend 4. Otherwise, if there's nothing Whip Go wise to work on for weekend 4 in May, then I can just do whatever I want. But I will start with Whip Go because I worked on my first Whip Go piece over this last weekend, which was Santa's on His Way, which is charted by Charting Creations. And I did not do anything crazy. So I did meet my goal of 1,000 stitches. And so here is 1,000 stitches on it. But all I was working on was this blue here, which is I think DMC 820. And I just decided it would be easiest to pick one color and work on one color because I only stitched one day this weekend basically. On Friday, I only worked on Autumn Harmony. And then Saturday, I did not really stitch at all. I think I did 100 stitches on this. And then Sunday, I was like, oh, I need to do the rest of the stitches on this so I can meet the goal. And so I ended up doing over 900 stitches on it yesterday. And then I also stitched on Autumn Harmony yesterday. So yeah, that was the only really stitching day I had was Sunday. And the whole piece, I will show it real quick, is like this. I started in the center of this chart because I wanted to start with something like fun, but then I don't like stitching in the center, so I worked up to the top, worked my way over to the corner, and then last year, I think in December, I worked my way down the bottom, and then that way I can kind of work where I want to work. So if I want to fill in boring sky, I have that option, but if I want to do some of like, there's buildings and stuff over here, I can always go down there and do that if I want to. This is being stitched on a 28 count 2/1 tent stitch. So this piece is now done, which means I can go put that away over on my shelf and get it out of my whips. I can also cross it off on my little checklist. So my checklist, like I said, the top portion is the projects that I'll be working on, and then only switching projects once the goal is met. I have a section for my Whip Go pieces with which weekend they are assigned to, and then at the bottom I have Autumn Harmony, which is supposed to be stitched on daily to get 5,000 stitches on her this month. So I will show Autumn Harmony. She has gotten stitched on, I think, 3 days since you last saw her. I stitched her Friday, Sunday, and then I've already done my stitching on her for today. And then I think what I'm going to do is, instead of showing her throughout like the video like every single day, if I was doing daily updates, like I said, I don't know how often I'll be updating because I'm only going to do updates when a piece has its goal met. I don't want to do updates every like 200 stitches. So Autumn Harmony might only be shown like on Monday and then Friday, which is nice because then you'll actually get to see more progress, hopefully. That's my plan anyways, because like I said, before I was not seeing a lot of progress, so it's kind of like, I don't even know what I'm showing. So here is where she is now. I will try and hold her back so I can put where she was on Friday. And I was working on, it's gonna be hard to show because I've had to move the Q-snap already. I was filling in this section here with all the DMC 154, and then I also worked down over to here and I'm filling in DMC 154 down here. So all I'm doing is filling in that one color. It doesn't seem like it makes a huge difference right now because it's a similar shade to the color that's already there. So, and this is being stitched on 18 count 2/1 full cross, and this is a chart from Maxine Gad Creations. So what will I be working on this week? I will be working on Tonight We Ride. Tonight We Ride is like the top priority piece right now because it needs to be finished by, I think, August. So every month I need to do 1,500 stitches. So I'll be working on this to try and get 1,500 stitches done on it. Hopefully it won't take me very long so that I can then move on to my next project. And I will be working down in this bottom area down here. This chart is being stitched on a 16 count, I think. 2 over 1 full cross, and the fabric is This Is Halloween from Witches Garden Crafts. I also don't know if I mentioned, but the pattern is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. And so yeah, there was that. And then Friday, why was I not cross stitching on Friday? Because I finished my first sock. So I was very excited. And I think, and when I showed it on Friday, I was like, here. I did not have very much to do before I needed to do the toe. And so then when I was in the pickup line waiting for my kids, I was knitting on it. And then I got to the point where you needed to do the decreases for the toe, and then I just became obsessed with getting it finished. And so that was what I did Friday night. And this is the vanilla sock from Crazy Sock Lady on YouTube and Ravelry. And then, because I know a lot of people have said, like, don't get trapped into the not making the second sock. Do not delay, otherwise you might end up with just one sock. And you can't just wear one sock, you have to have 2 socks. So then I started the second sock, and so that's what I did Friday, is I finished one and started the other. So hopefully I will end up with 2 socks. I am knitting these on DPNs because that's what I had when I started them. I did order circulars, but I still have not tried the circular needles yet, just because I don't want to switch needles partway through the project and then possibly have like my tension change or anything like that. So I do already know that I want to start another pair of socks after this using the circulars just to try out circular needles. So that is all that I have worked on. I will be back hopefully soon with my progress on Tonight We Ride. I am back, and it is Wednesday, which means it's been a couple days since the last time I updated, but I have managed to get my stitching done on Tonight We Ride. I did 1,500 stitches on this chart. I will put up here over on the side how many stitches I did each day. I worked on it 2 days. I worked on it Monday and Tuesday and met the goal, which is the fastest that I have ever met the goal on this chart. I checked my Notion thing, and you can like see how many days each month you worked on a chart, and last month it took me 4 days to meet the goal on this, and this month I did it in 2. And I think it really helped not spinning the wheel and just knowing that I had to work on this, meet the goal before I could move on to the next project. Like, that gave me a little extra motivation to stitch more on it each day, because I was like, all right, if you want to get to Kita, you gotta finish this. And so I was like determined. I was like, I will get this done ASAP so that I can move on, and I don't want this to be holding me back. So I did the stitching. I made it over to the right side of the chart here. This is the end of this bottom corner, so I was very excited. This side is going to be close to being done soon. I started working on DMC 975, which is this kind of like rusty orangey color, and I think it's almost done in this section. I think I need to do like another blob of it right here. And then there's going to be a tree that runs through here and goes up to the sky where the witch is. So I think that the next time I work on this, I will be focusing more on this side again, trying to finish this side before I start working more on the left side of the chart. But I'm just really excited because I'm at a point now where there's only 3 more months that I have to work on this chart. So I have to do the stitching for June and July, and that will be another 1,500 stitches. And then somehow I think I got slightly like ahead because, you know, some months you might do an extra like 50 stitches or something. And in August, I think I only have to do 1,000 stitches. So this will be finished in August as long as nothing comes up. And so I'm really excited to just be that much closer to finishing, like knowing that it's only a few months away, and then I'll have a finish. I love finishes. I don't get a lot of them, but I love it when they happen. And then that means that I get to work on my next chart on the list, which is Kita. Kita is artwork from Hannah Alexander, charted by Pinky the Pink, and you can find the charts on makeitpink.net. And this is one that I've been working on for years. She will also be something that will hopefully be finished this year. Fingers crossed I get her finished this year. And I think my goal on her is to get the cross stitches finished in in October, and then that will leave November and December for back stitching and beads, because she's gonna have a ton of beads and back stitching on her. And hold on, I'll start here. So I have finished the top of her. That's lovely. Great to have that all done. But that means that all that's left is the bottom portion with her dress, which is just taking forever because it's just a ton of shades of blue. There are like a few peachy shades, but there's not a ton of them. Hold on. There's some like threads that are in the way, but yeah, there is some like peachy-ish shades that are in the dress too, but it's not a lot. And then all the spaces here, that's all gonna be beads, which is going to be so fun. I love beading. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I love beading. It's fun. And it adds like the sparkle and all the prettiness to things. So that is what I'll be working on today. It's still early on Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning. I wanted to get this filmed early so that I could start working on her right away. And I need to do 1,800 stitches on her to meet the goal for this month. And I'm hoping that I can meet the goal like Friday. So I would work on her Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. And then hopefully I will be done on her. That is like a lot of stitches to do. She is a full cross project. Like tent stitch, I can get that done pretty quick. Full cross does tend to take a little bit longer, but I'm really hoping to have her finished by this weekend, and then that means this weekend I just get to focus on my Whip Go New Start, and then next week I would get to work on like the next project on the list, whichever that is, because I don't even remember what's after Kita on the list. So that is my cross stitch. Knitting, I will talk about very quickly. So I finished my one sock, I started the second one, and I am almost at the part where you do the heel. I think I need to do like one more round for the leg, and then you start the heel. And I normally work on this in the car while I'm picking up my kids. I don't know if I'd want to work on the heel in the car because I feel like I am more likely to mess up. The one time that I did have like an error when I was making my first one was in the heel, and I caught it really quick. Like I was watching the video and then I realized like the next row later that I had made a mistake one row down, so I was able to go back and fix it. But yeah, the only time I had an error was when I was making the heel. So that is something that I don't know if I'd want to work on in the car, and so I ended up starting another sock so that I could have a sock going that I would be working on the leg portion where you're just knitting. And the sock is for my daughter. So my daughter saw my socks and she loved it and she wants her own. And so I had her try on the one that I made to see sizing wise what needed to be, changed in it. And so she is 8, almost 9. And so I am doing the vanilla sock from Crazy Sock Lady, and I'm doing it in the size small. And I'm just going to cut out some of the rounds. So I'm doing less ribbing on hers. I'm also going to do less in the leg. Like I think I'm doing like half the stitches for the leg section. And then I measured her foot to figure out how many inches her foot needs to be. So she picked a yarn from my yarn shelf because I have a ton of yarn because I went crazy buying yarn for a while. And so yeah, I was like, just pick whatever you want, it's fine. And so she picked this one, which is from So La Vie Dyes Yarn, and it is in the color, I think it was like Fruit Camp, and it was from, hold on, here it is. It was from the Brood collection. So it's just like a really nice like peachy, and it has some like pinks in it, so it's really, really cute. And I ended up starting her sock on the circular needles because I really wanted to try out the circular needles. And here is where I am on that. I started it last night, and the circulars go so much faster. They do start to hurt after a while, like you can kind of feel it, but I can go a lot faster on the circulars than the DPNs just because you're not readjusting the needles, you're just flying around in a circle. So I started that. I am very excited. I'm obsessed with socks now. I think at this point I just want to keep making more socks even though I need to finish the ones that I've started. That is all that I have for like little updates though. I think I will be going and starting my cross stitching. I have shows that I can watch and I have audiobooks to listen to. So Bridgerton season 3 is coming out this month, and so I have been listening to the audiobooks, and I rewatched Bridgerton season 1 and 2 recently, and I really disliked season 2. I hated the story with the sisters. It drove me crazy. I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but I had heard from people that the books were better. Like the story in the book was different from the story in the show. So I listened to the audiobook, and I will agree that the book version of the story is much better because there's 2 sisters in it. That's all I'm gonna go say. There's 2 sisters, and then there's the guy that's trying to get married. And in the books, one of the sisters is like barely in it. barely. And then they put her into the show a lot more. And I was like, I don't like where they're going with these two sisters and this guy. Like, didn't like it. So the book was better than the show. I'm looking forward to season 3 though. I have already listened to the audiobook for the Penelope and Colin, which is technically book 4. For some reason they skipped over book 3. I don't know why. I don't know the reasoning, but I'm looking forward to that. And then the other thing is House of the Dragon. I'm wearing Game of Thrones shirts, like they're tied together. I was obsessed with Game of Thrones. I am obsessed with House of the Dragon, so I need to rewatch House of the Dragon season 1 before season 2 comes out in June. So I'm very excited for that. And whenever I have shows and books to listen to, I feel like I stitch a lot more because I can focus more on just my stitching. When I don't have shows and stuff to watch, I feel like I end up getting distracted and start like checking my phone and doing other stuff. But when I have a show that I'm like focused on, and then I can just kind of zone out and then just get my stitching done very quick. So I'm hoping that happens, but I will be going and probably listening to a little audiobook or watching another show while I stitch on Kita. And I will be back with hopefully 1,800 stitches done on her on Friday. I'm back and it's currently Friday and I want to show what I managed to get done the last couple days so that I can get this video up and ready to go on YouTube. And then I was also going to talk about my weekend plans. So first off, Kita, that was what I was working on. She was next on the list and I needed to do 1,800 stitches to meet the goal, and I have not done 1,800 stitches yet. I think that I've done like 1,000 stitches. I can insert the numbers from Notion somewhere. Here is where I am on her with 1,000 stitches added. I was working a lot on this section first, and then I got tired of working on the blues, and so I went back to working on the middle area here. I keep going back and forth on how I want to finish this bottom section. Like, a part of me almost thought about just working on like this section here all the way down to the bottom, then going back to the center, working it down to the bottom, and then going to the last section and working it down to the bottom. So I kind of think about doing it that way, but then I also have been kind of taking it evenly across. So like do this section a little bit, this section a little bit, and then this other section a little bit, and then evenly taking it down. But it would be nice to get one of these other sections to the bottom just because that feels more like a finish, if that makes sense. So I don't know how I will be working on it this weekend, but I will be working on her this weekend more because I need to do another like basically 800 stitches on her to meet my goal. And then the only other project that I've worked on for cross stitching is Autumn Harmony. So I will insert where she was on Monday somewhere, and here she is now. I have been doing my 200 stitches every day on her and just filling in more of the 154 in this area here. So I will continue working on the 154, and I think there's still more that needs to go down here, but I'm not sure how much. So I was also going to show that the next area that I will be working on the 154 is up here, just so that I have a before picture in case I end up being able to work up here at all this weekend, which I highly doubt because it's only 3 days. So I don't think I'll make it up here, but I wanted to show it just in case. So that was Autumn Harmony. My plans for the weekend are, I think today, Friday, I will continue working on Kita, trying to get as close as possible to my goal as I can, so that, like I said, I have to do like 800 stitches, and it's a lot, but we'll see what I manage to do. Autumn Harmony will be getting 200 stitches a day, hopefully, and then I have a new start. So my weekends in May, I am going to be working on my WIPGO numbers. There were 3 numbers called for May, and one of them was WIPGO number 13. For me, WIPGO number 13 was a new start. I will be starting my new start tomorrow. So today I want to keep working on Kita. Tomorrow I will have my new start, and then I'll work on it Saturday and then Sunday to try and meet my goal of 1,000 stitches. My new start, which I've already talked about it, but if you're new or didn't see my last video, I will be starting the chart Strawberry Farm, which is from Flossie Fox Shop. This pattern currently is available on their Patreon, and then after it's been on there for I think 2 or 3 months, it will go over onto their Etsy shop. I will be starting the chart on this fabric here, which is one of those DMC printed fabrics. So the back of the fabric is white, the other side is the printed area, and I will be starting it on the more purple section here because I like the purples, and then I think the pink one I will be using for a different Flossy Fox Shop pattern. When I start the chart, I'm fairly sure, okay, I always say like, oh, I like starting, you know, in the top corner so I can work my way down. I think I'm going to start this pattern in the center because number one, I'm not going to have a huge amount of border with the way I'm going to cut the fabric because I want to use the other piece of fabric for a different chart. So I want it to be centered, plus I really want to start on the house. So I might find the center and then count to the top of the house and then stitch the house because I really want to do the house. That was part of why I picked this pattern, is I really wanted to do the house, and then there's the dragon that's above the house, and so I'm really excited to get started on that. So that will be my cross stitching. Now I will talk about knitting. My knitting got buried. So for knitting, I have 2 socks finished. They are not a pair of socks. They are not matching. They could not fit the same person, but I do have 2 socks finished. So this one is my sock, which is the vanilla sock from Crazy Sock Lady. For some reason, I always want to say Cozy Sock Lady and not Crazy, but it's Crazy Sock Lady. So, and then this is the one that I made for my daughter. So I had started her sock, and then I got hers finished very quick because it's small, it's tiny, it's a little baby sock compared to my sock. I did half the amount of ribbing. So on this one, it's 20 rounds of ribbing. This one was only 10. And then the leg portion was only like 30 rounds instead of this one is 60. And yeah, so it ended up being just a lot smaller and went a lot quicker. I know that I could have technically made my daughter a tube sock because then it doesn't have the heel, so it will grow with them more because it doesn't have like a designated foot portion. But I really wanted to just make this pattern again because I want to keep practicing it so it gets like drilled into my head. Like I'm at a point now where I kind of have some of the steps memorized. So I am making my second sock of the one for myself, and I did the heel flap yesterday, and I was at a point where I didn't have to look at the pattern. I knew what I was doing, and that was kind of why for my daughter I decided to make her, instead of a tube sock, to actually make her a sock with the heel flap. It's just, it gives me more practice if I keep making the same pattern. So on my sock, that is actually my second sock for my pair. I did the heel flap yesterday, and then I did the turn portion here, and now I'm just at the gusset part where you have more stitches, so it looks a little crazy. You have more stitches, and then you decrease it back down to the amount that you had for the leg, and then you need to make the foot. But yeah, I feel like it's going a lot better. Like every sock that I have done, I am getting the steps down more, and that is what I want, so that I can actually make them without having to like stare at the pattern or the video the whole time. So I am hoping that I can get the sock finished this weekend, and that way I will at least have one complete set, and then I will have to start the other sock for my daughter because she wants her sock. Like, I finished this sock last night and she tried it on to make sure that it fit and everything, and she was like, can I wear it to bed? And it's like, it's one sock. You're gonna go to bed with one sock? That would be uncomfortable. But she was really excited about it, and so she wants her socks finished, and like I said, it gives me more time to practice, and I did hers on the circular needles. So I did have to use DPNs for the heel flap, I think, and then the gusset, and then you go back to the circulars, and then I did use DPNs for the toe portion. It did say you could do magic loop, but I have never been a fan of magic loop because I don't know if my cords are just too stiff or if I just need to get used to it. It's one of the two. It's probably just me. That is all that I have for this video though. I need to get going so that I can start stitching and knitting because I have a lot of things to do here. If you would like to see the progress that I get done on these charts and possibly see what charts I end up working on next week, because hopefully I can finish Kita and then I will be working down my list, and once I get Kita finished, that means I get to start on Little Gamer and my 2,500 stitches on Little Gamer. So hopefully Little Gamer will be pulled out next week, but I will see you all in my next video. Bye!